Our navy blue Chevy Astro minivan was getting a workout. An epic cross-country road trip. I was 16 and I was riding shotgun while my mom napped in the back seat for a bit. My dad was driving and my sister was just staring out the window of the other back seat. The Rand McNally Atlas was spread out on my lap. It had I-90 highlighted all the way across Wyoming, and I was tracing my finger along the bright yellow line. We were approaching the Bighorn Mountains, a section of the Rockies that bursts up from the flat desert of northern Wyoming. I kept glancing up and squinting my eyes through the windshield into the late afternoon sun and at the breathtaking ridges in the distance. These big, giant cumulus clouds hung over the massive peaks. To a flatlander like me, who had never been west of Chicago before at that point in my life, the mountains 30 miles ahead jutting straight out of the Wyoming ground were almost too much to comprehend. But those clouds. From this distance, those clouds hanging over the peaks of the Bighorns were confounding me. The shadows and sunbursts playing through and around the clouds and the mountaintops made it impossible to tell what was a mountain and what was simply a collection of water vapor and ice crystals forming a towering mass of air. I started to crane my neck and tilt my head to try to make sense of it. Where did the mountains end and the clouds begin? The peaks and the heavens were intermingled. This is where earth meets heaven. This is the stairway Led Zeppelin sang about. This is Jacob's ladder come to life. This must be the spot theologians and seekers of God have been looking for all these centuries. The bumpy westbound interstate slicing through northwest Wyoming. I mean it though. I have this vivid memory of squinting ahead, not being able to discern what was a mountaintop and what was a cloud. It was a confusing and wonderful thing. It was baffling and it was inspiring. Eventually, we hit a town called Buffalo and we got off I-90 and we took a smaller mountain highway right through those mountains. Once we got to that part of the journey, everything looked different. When you're up close, it isn't confusing at all. When you're up close, it's obvious, obviously, what is earth and what is sky. When you're up close, everything is clearer. When you're up close, everything is clearer. I've been reflecting on this memory a lot lately. I feel like I'm often too far away from things to make sense of them, but I try to make sense of them anyway. Take politics, for example. So often we see these big issues from so far away and we try to make sense of them using the best framework we have available to us. But if we got up close to them, they'd look very different. If we got up close, everything would be clearer. Abstraction is what blinds us. We think we know what the whole world looks like while we stare straight ahead out our own windshield or while we gaze out the window onto our own backyard. We think we know what the whole world looks like because we can see a sliver of it, and we are wrong. There's a wonderful passage in Matthew's Gospel in the Bible when Jesus is giving his Sermon on the Mount. And he shares a parable. Why do you look at the speck of sawdust in your brother's eye and pay no attention to the plank in your own eye? He asks. Abstraction is what blinds us. We critique the speck of dust in other people's eye, while a plank of abstraction pierces our own ability to see the fullness of who they are and what they've experienced. If you're confused or confounded right now, get up close to people. Shouting about them probably isn't going to help. Get up close. One real conversation might be able to help you with the plank problem you might be dealing with. From so far away, the mountains look like clouds and the clouds look like mountains. From so far away, everything is abstract and confusing. Get up close to people right now. Get up close. When you're close, everything is clearer. Here's a short prayer. God in the distance, God of big ideas and broad concepts, God of abstract notions and theoretical postulations, move closer to us, please. Move yourself closer to our eyes and our hearts by moving us closer to the groups of people around us that we foolishly think we can understand from a distance. Help us see them not from the safety of our windshield view from miles away. Help us get up close so we can understand what's really going on in their lives. Come closer, God. Amen. Hey, Between is about you. Take this message into your life this week and fill the space between you and every person you encounter with your sacred light. My favorite church is the space between people. Now go with God's love and create the church between.